Direct to you from the Oneida Lake Riding Gun Club.
It's the new Oneida Lake Show. It's the new Oneida Lake Show. Cause the old one wasn't good enough. Cause the old one wasn't good enough.
Sponsored by
Anglers
Bay,
in
Bartow
Road
Baiting.
Tackle.
Ready?
Yeah.
Good afternoon on a bright, sunny, hot Sunday afternoon. This is Rob Griffito from Bartow Road Bait and Tackle and the new Oneida Lake Show here with Peter Rich from Anglers Bay Cottages. And it is hot outside, folks. Oh my goodness. Got a little bit of liquid refreshment here. Pete, what's going on your end of things? You might have something exciting to talk about.
A lot of things going on here. Obviously, the Oneida Lake Rod and Gun Club's open now. We've got decent menu for lunch and dinner, so hoping people come down. Rob and I are also going to be doing some live stuff here, so we're looking forward to everybody coming down for
Wait a minute.
requisite harassment.
Wait a minute. You're inviting people to come in here and bust our balls?
That's right.
Oh my God.
I know more than one that's going to. But
Yeah, I do too.
We'll return fire if necessary. So
We need trombone here for comic relief.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Rob, walleye fishing was fantastic last week. I actually had guys that were so happy, limits every day, the whole 9 yards, right around 25 feet. Trolling speeds kind of picked up as the week went on. Then yesterday, at about 11 o'clock, the lake got flat, things got hot. What do you do at this point to try to catch some?
Well, I mean, the last few days we've had a real, almost like a perfect storm of bad for fishing. The heat is really the most minor part of the whole thing. We did see a pretty amazing phenomenon. The water temperature has spiked to about 78 or 79 degrees. That's hot, and that happened fast. On Monday we had 70.7 is what I found on the west end of the lake, and now we're up to 78, 79. But what was more important to happen this week, we had a full moon on Thursday night, and then we had the mother of all mayfly hatches on this lake. Nice and Easy in Brewerton was encased in mayflies on Friday morning. It was incredible. You could have used a snowplow to plow the bugs off the roads in Brewerton. When that happens, naturally that is just a full-blown food source. These fish don't have to do anything to eat these things other than open their mouth and swim through them. So things changed pretty dramatically overnight from Thursday into Friday and even into Saturday because, quite honestly, the fish were full. They had all they could eat all the way around them. I had guys out in the lake talking about mats full of these bugs just laying on the surface. Another friend of mine showed me a picture of his outboard motor from one run. It was covered. You couldn't even see the numbers or the Merck sign on it because the bugs were squished against it. So that was a big factor in what these fish were doing these last few days. Now, yesterday was a pretty neat story. We had pretty much a flat lake for the most part. Then we got a little bit of a wind in the afternoon towards dark. And I know a couple guys who did extremely well jigging right up until dark, until the lake slicked out again, and they both said the same thing. Once the lake slicked out, it was over. So you really do need some kind of a breeze, some kind of a chop to get the water moving. Another thing that's happened that I'm not thrilled with because it's only July 1st and it happened, almost overnight we had a pretty big time algae bloom start. We started seeing globules of it. That's a big word, isn't it?
Yeah, well, really, the last 2 days.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but big globs of it started showing up the last couple days out in the middle. And I actually saw an aerial photo of the lake today, and on the satellite you can almost see it. It's on the east mainly. We haven't seen much of it up west yet. I imagine the next east wind we see, we will get some of it up there. I kind of hope not. I'm kind of hoping we don't see an east wind. We've had enough of them in the last week. But yeah, things are definitely changing. The eyes are finally starting to make something of a migration towards the east. As Pete said, 25 foot of water. It was 12 to 17 regularly for pretty much the last 6 months. So 6 months, yeah, right. 6 weeks. Sorry about that. But now you're going to see them start to move. You're going to start seeing them get to the deeper water haunts. Shackleton Shoal should start up. We're still catching them in the west. Us bass guys are still catching them pretty regularly, fishing for the bass. But I think tomorrow night I'm going to learn a lot with our 3-hour Monday night tournament. We'll see if they're still around. My hunch is they're not going to be.
You gonna try to hit the shoals a little bit harder?
Yeah, I'm gonna fish some areas for smallmouths and see what happens with the eyes. Because what's been happening is if you're fishing smallmouth, you're catching eyes. They've just been in the same areas. So I'm gonna go see what happens for a little bit before I start flipping on the shallow water. But my hunch is they're starting to move finally more towards their regular pattern to the east. So I think you guys down here in Cleveland and Constantia and Bernards Bay, you're gonna start to see that deep water walleye bite that you're used to on July 1st. I think it's finally setting up. The other thing is this warm water it's going to change everything. Everything's moving. So hopefully we get some wind. A west wind would be nice. Get this thing chopped up, get this algae moved a little bit, not let it really set in, but I don't really see that in the next couple of days. So.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
A lot of activity on the lake other than fishing.
Oh yeah, they had the jet ski races,
Yeah,
right?
jet ski races off Sylvan Beach.
Any idea how many there were?
No clue. But
Sounds like a lot.
we got the fireworks out at your end of the lake on the 3rd.
Yeah, yeah.
Bragging rights between Sylvan Beach and Brewerton. We'll see what happens.
I can tell you this, as the former committee chairman of the fireworks for Brewerton, you guys have something to look, it's going to be no competition this year.
All right, we'll see.
I know what they did with the budget this year. This is going to be a much bigger show than we've seen ever in
That's
history.
going to be at 9:45 on the 3rd. Sylvan Beach is going to be on the 5th this year.
Oh, is it on the 5th?
Fifth
All
on the-
right,
okay.
cool. That's good
So
information.
We've got that. Tournament-wise, you talked about the mayfly hatch.
Yep.
That's going to subside.
Yep.
It's going to impact the fishing a little bit. What's coming up tournament-wise? What are some decent strategies going forward for that?
You know, the smallmouth has still been a mystery. I think the one upside of this heat wave is going to be that we're finally going to see the weeds grow like they should be.
Right.
A lot of your areas where the smallmouths generally are, but they're not right now, the weeds will come into, and I think they're going to move more into their normal patterns. You'll probably see some schooling coming up. The largemouth, that's simple. They're shallow.
You going to rip crankbait through there?
No, you could rip a lipless crank. A lot of guys will attack that by throwing a drop shot into the weed plumps, a tube, a jig. I think a jig's going to be a real big player because the crayfish are very prevalent right now. So I think you'll see a lot of that happening. But most importantly, I think you're going to see the smallmouth setting up the way they normally would. They're not going to be as spread out. You're going to be able to go actually find a school of them and work them. The largemouth, that's simple, good shallow. This is starting to become my type of year. Part of me was pretty excited when I heard the 78, 79 degree water because I do very well when the water warms up. Because a lot of people can't commit to that shallow bite, but it's there. Trust me on that. We have a couple biggies coming up. July 14th is the FLW HT Marine BFL. That is always a big turnout. There's usually about 150 boats here. The following weekend, you got a couple things going on the lake. You have the Upstate Anglers Oneida Lake Tournament, and you also have the one I'm fishing and very excited for, the Spro Only Tournament. Spro Baits has hooked up with Cash and Rods to run this event, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You're only allowed to fish with Spro Baits. I'm pumped. I'm pretty much going to throw a frog all day, and I'm happy with that. And the best part is they make a bait called an Uruku shad, which is a lipless crankbait. It's my wife's favorite bait. So I'm going to put us in areas where I can throw the frog and she can throw the Uruku shad, and we're just going to have a ball. That tournament is $110. You can sign up for that at cashandrods.com. After that, I think we get a little break.
Yeah.
So
Sounds pretty good, Rob. I know everybody's busy. You want to touch upon
Yeah.
sunscreen,
Yeah.
hydration, stuff like that. I got to run. We'll see everybody next week. We're going to try to do something Thursday.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, get out of here.
Okay.
Leave.
All right. Peace.
Camera's all mine. So anyway, folks, I just want to talk a little bit more. One of the things we want to do with this show is to give some educational tips, not just on fishing, but in general. And when you have heat like this, you have a lot of problems. We're human beings. We tend to forget that at times, and we tend to forget the most simple things. Sunscreen. I can't say it any simpler than that. If you're just going to be on the water, even if you're just laying in a tube, if you're going to be in a swimming pool, you're going to head over to 3 Mile Bay and party at the pig roast. Well, no matter what you're doing, it's just smart to put a little bit of sunscreen on. This is 30. My wife likes 50. We've learned a lot. As medical science moves forward and we learn a little bit more about skin cancer, it's a very relevant topic, especially when you spend time on the water. Like me as a tournament angler. When the buffs first came out, I used to think, oh, wow, that looks silly. Guys started to wear UV resistant gloves. I thought, well, that looks silly. But the simple fact is it's not silly. It's actually very smart and a very relevant event. All this clothing we wear, the hook shirts, the Columbia fishing shirts, they're all UV resistant and they're also cool. You would think that wearing long sleeves on a sunny, hot day like this would be hot. It's not. The technology is there to keep your skin cool, but also to protect it from the sun's rays. Same thing with gloves. And if you don't like long sleeve shirts like me, I found a company called Fish Monkey, and they make UV protecting clothing. I actually have a set of sleeves that I can slide on with any t-shirt I want. and it'll protect my arms from the sun. Too many people are coming down with melanoma. They're coming down with skin cancer, and it's just because they don't take a half a second to be more prepared for being out in weather like this. The other thing is stay hydrated. Lots of water. Alcohol does not help in the heat, even though we all think it does. Drink water, and don't drink ice cold water. Room temp water actually absorbs into your body quicker than the ice cold stuff, so you get more benefit out of it more quickly. Other things to avoid if you're going to be out in the sun: coffee. Sounds silly, I know, I can't live in the morning without it, but in the sun, coffee is a diuretic and it actually helps dehydrate you. So stay hydrated, use sunscreen. If you have the clothing, if you have the buff, wear it. We all seen the guys with raccoon eyes because they wear their sunglasses but they don't protect the rest of their face. Don't be that guy. It used to look cool, now it's just another possibility for you to hurt yourself. So please be safe, please be aware, lots of water, hydrate, stay cool, folks. That's the end of today. We'll see you again next week, coming to you live from the newly opened Oneida Lake Riding Gun Club. And since he's not here, I'm going to pick on him a little. Folks, I got to tell you, this place looks great. We were shooting this show with boards and saws and sawdust and junk just piled on the tables for months. It looks awesome in here. Come on down, have some dinner. And when you see him, slap him, please. Yeah, he's not here. This is cool. So this is going to be a great asset to the lake. Stop on down, have a drink, have some food. We'll see you.